digital future. Now, please allow me to briefly introduce the development of digital economy in China.
数字经济是全球经济增长日益重要的驱动力，在加速经济发展、提高劳动生产率、培育新市场、实现可持续增长中，正发挥着重要的作用。当前，数字经济已成为中国发展最快、创新最活跃、辐射最广的领域，是带动中国经济增长的重要引擎。中国政府高度重视数字经济发展，通过大力实施国家信息化发展战略、国家大数据战略、互联网+行动计划等一系列重大举措，加快建设数字中国，着力促进数字经济创新发展。
Digital economy is becoming an increasingly important driver for global economic growth. It plays a significant role in accelerating economic development, improving productivity, cultivating new markets, and achieving sustainable growth. Today, digital economy has become a most innovative and inclusive field in China with the most rapid development. The Chinese government places high value on digital economy, and China is vigorously implementing a raft of major strategy for IT application, big data, the Internet Plus Action Plan, and so on. Efforts has been accelerated and enhanced to build a digital China with a focus on innovative development.
2016年12月，中国政府发布“十三五”国家信息化规划，提出到2020年，数字中国建设取得显著成效。在数字经济方面，信息消费规模达到6万亿元，电子商务交易规模超过38万亿元，信息化和工业化融合发展水平进一步提高，重点行业数字化、网络化、智能化取得明显进展，网络化协同创新体系全面形成等具体目标。
In December 2016, the Chinese government introduced the 13th Five-Year Plan for national IT development. The plan aims to witness significant achievements in the building of digital China by 2020. With the scale of information consumption reaching 6 trillion yuan and the market of e-commerce exceeding 38 trillion. Other specific goals include to see further integration of informatization and industrialization to witness remarkable improvements in major industries that are more digitized, networked, and intelligent, and to welcome the comprehensive formation of a collaboration innovation system.
规划部署了构建现代信息技术和产业生态体系，建设泛在先进的信息基础设施体系，建立统一开放的大数据体系，构筑融合创新的信息经济体系，形成普惠便捷的信息惠民体系，完善网络空间治理体系，健全网络安全保障体系等方面的任务。近年来，中国网络购物、移动支付、共享经济等数字经济新业态新模式蓬勃发展。2016年，中国数字经济总量达到22.58万亿元，呈现出良好的发展态势。
A series of tasks has developed in the plan, including to build an ecosystem for modern information technologies and industries, a ubiquitous system for advanced information infrastructure, a unified and open big data system, an information economic system of integration and innovation, an inclusive and convenient information system that benefits the people, an improved cyberspace governance system, and enhanced cybersecurity system. In recent years, new business and new models of digital economy, such as online shopping, mobile payment, and sharing economy are booming in China. In fact, the robust growth of China's digital economy reached 22.58 trillion yuan in 2016.
一是网络基础设施日益普及，截止2017年7月，中国移动电话用户总数达到13.7亿户，其中4G 用户总数9.1亿用户，用户规模居世界第一。截止2017年6月，中国有7.51亿网民，506万个网站，网民总数占全球网民总数的1/5， 互联网以深度融入经济社会发展，融入人民生活。
Let us look at achievements from the following aspects. First, the Internet infrastructure is increased popularized. As of July 2017, China has the largest number of mobile subscribers, totaling 1.37 billion, of which 910 million are 4G users. Up until June 2017, there are 751 billion Internet users in China, which account for 1/5 of the world total number of Internet users. Aside from 5.06 million websites in China, the Internet has integrated into the economic and social development and people's everyday life.
二是信息产业规模持续领先。2016年，中国规模以上电子信息制造业实现主营业务收入12.2万亿元，软件和信息服务业业务收入达到4.9万亿元。信息产品供给水平不断提升，手机、计算机、彩电等产量保持全球第一。
Second, the scale of information industry continues to take the lead. In 2016, revenue of China's large-scale electronic and information manufacturing industry reached 12.2 trillion yuan, and that of software and information service industry reached 4.9 trillion yuan. The supply of information products continues to improve. With the output of mobile phones, computers, and television remains the highest in the world.
三是电子商务迅速发展。2016年，中国电子商务交易额达到26.1万亿元，其中网络零售交易额为5.16万亿元，移动支付、电子支付普及率全球领先。
Third, e-commerce enjoys rapid development. In 2016, the transaction volume of e-commerce in China reached 26.1 trillion yuan, with online retail accounting for 5.16 trillion yuan. The penetration rate of the mobile payment and electronic payment reached top in China.
四是制造业数字化转型步伐加快，制造业数字化、网络化、智能化水平不断得到提升，建成了一批智能工厂和数字化车间，探索形成了一批可复制、可推广的智能制造新模式。
Fourth, the pace of the digital transformation in manufacturing industry is quicking up. The manufacturing industry is becoming more digitized, networked, and intelligent. A number of smart factories and digital workshops have been built, and a set of replicable models for smart manufacturing are explored and established. Thank you very much.
谢谢大家。
Thank you, Didi Jun. It's a very informative briefing, lots of facts and figures. Now I give the floor to Professor Xie. His intervention will be on general situation and the reflections on cyberspace legislation in China. Please, you have PPT.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here to share some ideas about the China cyber law. Today I will share three parts of my PPT. One is the development history of internet governance in China. The second is general situation of cyberspace legislation in China. The third is some reflections on cyberspace legislation in China. As we know, it has been 23 years since China first fully accessed to the internet in 1994. It has experienced a gradual condition about the internet governance. I would like to divide the development history of the internet governance in China into 3 stages. The first is from 1994 to 1999. I think in this stage, the people usually regarding the internet as a new information technology. So in this stage, the government promote the building of the internet infrastructure. So there are certain laws to regulate the internet. Just some cyber security rulers, such as regulation on protecting the security of computer information system, and the interim provision on the administration of international networking of computer information network. So these 2 regulations also think the internet as a computer information system. So in this stage, the government focuses on the operations security and the data security. In the second stage, I think it's from 2000 to 2013. In this stage, people think the internet is a new media and a new economical opportunity. So in this stage, the government issues some regulations about the internet, such as the telecommunication regulation, administrative measures for internet information service, and the decision on preserving computer network security, and some departmental rulers. In this stage, the government focuses on the information security about the internet. In the meanwhile, the e-commerce developed very great fast in China. So the National People's Congress issued electronic signature laws to support the economy. So in this stage, the government focuses on the information security, the cybercrime, fake information, pornographic information, and so on. Yes. In the third stage, I think it began from the 2014. With the growing popularity of the internet applications, the internet has become a network society, not just the virtual space. Especially because the Snowden case, the Chinese government found out that we have the greater development the e-commerce, and have building more and more infrastructure, but the cybersecurity is very poor. So the center leading group for cyberspace efforts was established. Following its establishment, China developed a comprehensive method for the governing cyberspace through overall coordination, top-level design, and cyber legislation. And so the framework's cybersecurity law was issued last year. And the national strategy of cyberspace security and the international cooperation strategy in cyberspace also issued one by one. So according to my collection, by now, there are a lot of laws and regulations related to the internet in China. There are 54 laws and 55 administrative regulations, 63 judicial interpretations, and 144 departmental rulers. These laws and regulations put together to shape the Chinese cyber legal system. This legal system covering the field of internet operation security, data security, information safety, personal information protection, internet resources management, internet service management, e-commerce, and cybercrime, and so on. Furthermore, industrial associations like the Internet Society of China also developed over 20 self-disciplined rulers. So the legal system of cyberspace in China, in the general, based on traditional laws, supplemented by special legislations. The special legislations such as the cybersecurity law and the e-commerce law was drafted on, and the personal information protection, online information service, e-government, telecommunications, and network society administrations. So we can find that just the cyber security law was enacted. Some others or was drafted or maybe in the future will be issued. So, to my opinions, according to the cyberspace legislation in China, I found that the Chinese government begins to change from administrative regulation to comprehensive governance in cyberspace. Besides the administrative measures, the government seeks to use technology, laws, market to governing the cyberspace. The second, Chinese government attaches importance to multi-stakeholder model. The government realized that all participants in their respective roles should take part in shaping the evolution and the use of the internet, not just the government. For example, the cybersecurity law involves more than 13 actors, including government agencies, enterprises, social organizations, industrial associations, research institutes, education and training institutions, mass media, internet uses. These actors should play their respective role in the cyberspace. The third, the legislative procedure turns more and more open. We can find that more and more drafts of the law disclosed to the public before passed. So all kinds of actors can give their opinions to the government, to the legislative bodies. The fourth, foreign companies in China also can easily take part in the process of legislation. We found that the government is willing to listen to the opinions of the foreign companies. They can give their opinions to the government directly, and some can also take part in the seminars or have some seminars to express their opinions about the cyber law. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Xie, for a very good speech. Now I give the floor to Yang Xiaoya. She will speak on sharing practices for future digital economy.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I appreciate very much the kind invitation from the host, and I'm very pleased to speak at this open forum on behalf of the ITU. ITU, the International Telecommunication Union, is the United Nations specialized agency for global information and communication technologies. In the end of 1998, the ITU initiated, promoted in the UN framework, and organized the 25th Multi-Stakeholder World Summit of Information Society in 2003 and 2005. Two well-known forums, IGF and WSIS Forum, are the outcomes of the 2005 WSIS Summit. ITU was designated as the sole facilitator for Action Line C2 on infrastructure and Action Line C5 on cybersecurity. We've seen tremendous progress in the area of information and communication technologies in recent years. More and more people are connected. New technologies such as broadband and 4G services have been deployed. E-commerce, e-health, e-money, and many more electronic services have reached more and more people around the world. The role of ICTs in helping to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals is gaining wide recognition. ITU is a public-private partnership. ITU is a membership organization whose members are governments, companies, and academia. In its history of 152 years, ITU develops global standards on telecommunication technologies and services, manage spectrum and satellite orbits, and assist developing countries for infrastructure and policy deployment on ICTs. It is estimated that 95% of international traffic of Internet runs over fiber optic cables built in conformance with ITU standards. ITU has made great progress in helping developing countries and least developed countries to improve their communication infrastructure, market deployment, and human capacity building. ITU is working on establishing rules and standardization for frequency allocations for 5G global mobile communication and promoting global deployment of new technologies such as big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, smart sustainable cities, and artificial intelligence. China has made incredible advances in ICT innovation and digital economy in recent years. China is world #1 in numbers of both mobile subscriber and internet users, and world #2 in terms of the growth scale of digital economy. More and more people are interested to know how China has achieved this. China's vision on developing a digital economy for openness and shared benefits, building a community of common future in cyberspace, together with its 4 principles and 5 proposals, has been inspiring and is gaining more and more attention from all over the world. ITU commends this open forum with participation of Chinese cyberspace authorities, research institutes, and think tanks to introduce China's achievements in digital economy and experience in internet policies, law, and regulation development. Sharing practices and enhancing dialogue and discussion will help to promote global collaboration, to spread digital dividend more widely and better benefit people from all over the world. ITU is committed to connecting all the world's people, wherever they live and whatever they mean. ITU wishes to work with all stakeholders of the world to build a global information society, to bring better ICTs to all for a better future to all. ITU looks forward for China to play an ever greater role in this great cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Xiaoya. Thank you for your brief introduction on the role of ITU in shaping the digital future and your perspective as to how you look at China's digital economic development. Now, last but not least, I give the floor to Mr. Luigi Gambardella. His intervention is entitled Chinese Industry Will Shape the Internet of Tomorrow. Luigi, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your kind invitation. And let me congratulate again for the success of UGEN, which I believe is already one of the most important interconference in the world, and I think would be interesting also for you next year maybe to attend. But let me say a few things. First of all, I remember when I was the first time speaking about the role of China in the digital sector in 2014 on internet, and I was saying, well, China will become the leader, China will grow in fast. At that time, only 3 years ago, the situation was completely different. The reality is that China is the leader, is becoming the leader, and China for the digital sector is the future. But let me, first of all, it's important that we understand the context. China is a country which is growing. Just to give you one figure, in the last 5 years, China has created, as average, every year, 15 million jobs. Today, every day in China, there are 16,500,000 new startups every single day. And the objective of the Chinese government is to have by 2020 10,000 incubator, accelerator, creating 3 million jobs, only for the new internet companies. I could continue and mention many other numbers, but I think that, frankly speaking, what we have to recognize, first of all, the role that China has today, and nobody can deny it. And second, the fact that the Chinese government is facilitating the development of digital economy and has promoted innovation in the country. Today, China is a country of innovators. Now, let me distinguish 2 different aspects. One, which are crucial for the internet and the internet of the future, is infrastructure and then services. You know that China is already leader, has been said also by ITU, is a leader in 4G. in the world. And I think China is going to be one of the first countries in the world to introduce 5G. Why this is important? Because 5G is the internet of the future. 5G is a new way to communicate, and basically what will change is the two main revolutions, not only that we will be able to have a better connection with our mobile phone, we could load a movie in a few seconds, but the real innovation will be the possibility to collect data from objects, from machines, and this will mean, obviously, big data, will mean the possibility to use better artificial intelligence, cloud services, and also low latency services, cars without drivers. So we will see a new era of internet. And I believe, also because of the leadership of the Chinese government, China has clearly understood this and is investing in this future. So obviously, at the same time, there are aspects that are important at the level of the services if we relate to government, like, for example, obviously the development of e-government, smart cities, Wi-Fi, public hotspot, Wi-Fi. If you go to China, you see Wi-Fi everywhere, free. You can connect very, very easily. But at the same time, it's clear that the strength of China is the private sector. The Chinese companies are very competitive in the internet, in the digital sector, and are willing to innovate and to grow and to promote new services. As has been said, and I will not repeat, there are companies today, Tencent, we know that the stock value of Tencent is today higher than Facebook. We know the success of Alibaba, of Baidu, but I can tell you there are many other companies which maybe even people they don't know they exist, that they have a big market capitalization and they can make also profit. But I would like to, contrary to, it's quite interesting because Chinese company, contrary to, for example, Google or Facebook, which bet mainly in advertising, they have a slightly different business model, and they try to monetize through services and subscriptions. And what will happen in China and what these companies are doing in China, sooner or later, will be done also abroad. In the past 2 years, according to CBI, the Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, and JD have invested 5.6 billion in 48 deals in US, only in US, buying company in US. So I think that the leadership of the Chinese internet is thanks to a policy of the government which has promoted innovation, but at the same time is also to the capacity of the Chinese internet company to compete, to innovate, to stay on the market. And I think what we could see in the future, in the near future, is the expansion, international expansion. Today, basically, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent are, and their customers are in China. But I think that the time is coming, and we already have a company very successful, for example, in the telecom area like Huawei on ZTE, but there are other Chinese. And my feeling is that they will start and will dedicate more attention to the international expansion. And then, once this will happen, this company, the Chinese company, will have an influence on the internet governance and will be more important even of Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, the influence they have today. So, global success on the internet is a key factor in the influence of the internet governance. And I think that the Chinese giants, tech giants, are best positioned to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luigi. Thank you for your intervention from the perspective of a long-time observer of China's economic development and from someone devoted to China-EU cooperation in the field of digital economy. Thank you very much for your efforts. Now we have some time for Q&A. Since we have to finish before 9, so time is limited, I will open the floor, and please identify yourself before you ask a question, and make it clear whom you address the question to, and one question at a time. Thank you. So the floor is yours. The floor is open. No? Okay. No question? So it seems that everything is clear. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
My name is Taha Shah. I'm part of German delegation. And my question goes to you.
Luigi.
Luigi.
You said 5G is the future internet, but from my perspective, 5G is on layer 2, and the internet is standardized in layer 3. So from my perspective, 5G is only one of the transport layers. And if you think about the bandwidth you would like to reach with 5G, you go into the 20 gigahertz band, and then you have a circle of only 500 up to 1 kilometer. So the main issue with 5G is not the wireless part, but you have to connect all the base stations. From my perspective, 5G is not one of the key factors of the modern internet, because you need to have fiber to connect all the needed base stations. What do you think about it?
I think that 5G is the future of internet. And also, for example, I will make an example. I hope that will be clear. Today, an internet company, they collect data only on individuals. For example, they collect data on you, on your behavior, and according to the data they collect, they make some commercial proposal. So this is the internet of today. Tomorrow, internet will be everywhere. So it means that the data will be collected from objects, from machines, from your car, from big data, artificial intelligence, cloud services. Why 5G is important? I was really astonished to saw one of the first trial of 5G in China with China Mobile. You know, today it's possible. I can design something here, and what I do goes on the cloud, and then it's produced in China with a robot in the factory. So I think you should change your concept of internet. Internet will evolve. Internet will be everywhere. It will be completely different what you are thinking today. And in order to do that, you can do only thanks to 5G technology, because basically 5G technology will allow to collect a massive, huge data. And second, thanks to 5G, we can introduce low latency services, which we consider which will allow to have new services like augmented realities, virtual realities. So there are many in the field of medicine. So I think your concept of internet, I think should, that's my view, should evolve in the future. And this will obviously will create new challenges, new discussions. What will happen with artificial intelligence, with robotics, because robots will be linked to internet. Your wash machine will be linked to internet. So we have entered a new reality, and thanks to 5G, we will be able to introduce this service that today we are not yet seeing.
Okay, please.
Hello, my name is Tom Miles. I'm a journalist from Reuters news agency. I'm based here in Geneva, so I'm not an expert on China's internet policy at all, but it's obviously a good opportunity to ask the question, and I guess it's to Mr. Lee. How do you ensure that the rights, human rights and individual rights are reflected when you're designing policies on internet censorship and other top-down policies? China obviously has a very strong top-down system, but how are you going to ensure that those important rights, which are really, for most people, the lifeblood of the internet, those are ensured and protected? Thank you very much.
We think is the two important sections of the with one thing. So we make policies and laws. During we make policies and laws, we may think how to development the industry of the internet. At the same time, we can make sure the right and duties of the users between the treaties and the users to equal the right and the duties between them.
I think Professor Xie is going to add something there.
About your question, I have some give some my opinions. I think the government think that everybody will use the internet. Maybe this is the one of the important aims to give the people the right to access to the internet. This is one hand, and the another hand is the cyberspace is not a space to protect everybody, to realize everyone's rights and to protect everyone's rights. So the government need to governing the space to delete the fake informations and to delete the pornographic informations and to deal with the cybercrime. So it's the another measures to protect the rights of the users.
Okay, I may add something. I'll give you two figures. Now we have a population of internet users in China, which is 751 million. I have just mentioned the total number. This is one figure, and the other is we have websites you guess the number of our websites in China. That is 5 million. We have 5 million websites. And that means that the Chinese people's rights of speech and the rights of expression are fully ensured. But at the same time, we are of the idea that internet, cyberspace, is not a space that is ungoverned. We need to administer or supervise or manage the internet according to law. That is why we have passed so many legislation or so many regulations that has just been mentioned by the previous speakers. Thank you. Please.
Hi, Jason Pielmeyer from the Global Network Initiative. I commend the various speakers here for coming and articulating, I think, a more proactive engagement on the part of Chinese government and Chinese companies on internet policy issues. But to the point made by the previous speaker, I think while the development of the internet in China may have taken place in a particular way, internet governance globally has always been a space where civil society, a free and open civil society, has had a very critical role to play. Notwithstanding the 5 million websites you have in China, there is an extremely limited space for free civil society in China. Very little, if any, independent civil society participate in conferences like Wuzhen. So as China wants to become more assertive and participate internationally, it will have to become more open to criticism and engagement with independent civil society. How will that happen? If how open will China be to engaging with civil society in internet governance discussions?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. I'd like to take your question. You speak of Wuzhen. 2 weeks ago, we held the Fourth World Internet Conference in Wuzhen, Zhejiang Province. It's a very beautiful town. I hope every one of you will have a chance to go there. It is an annual event, so it is open. It is open. In a sense, it's not open because there's a limited accommodation. Wuzhen is a small place, so we have a ceiling of 1,500 participants. But this year, there are more people who applied to come, but the accommodation is limited. And Wuzhen now, the local government, they are making efforts to enlarge their accommodation. So maybe next year or the year after, we can invite more participants to come. But actually, you have just mentioned that it's not open. It's not. There are not so many civil societies to participate in Wuzhen Summit. It's not true. Actually, this summit, this event, is multi-party style. There are only very few participants from governments. Government representatives are very small part. Most of them are representatives from business, from internet companies, from think tanks, from technical communities, from NGOs, etc. I wish you had a chance to see, to feel yourself. And I have just mentioned that we have those leading figures in the international internet field who came, who brainstormed, who had a very deep discourse about the development of internet around our this year's theme, which is developing digital economy for openness and shared benefits. The message is very clear. It's open. It's open. Just like President Xi pointed out in his report in the 19th Party Congress, he said China's door will never close. They will be open wider and wider. So that's my message. Thank you. You are welcome to next year's Wuzhen Summit. Thank you.
I'm Rajesh Charia from India. While I appreciate that now the China is opening their sector,
Your question is to whom?
I'm putting a general question.
Okay.
Anybody can answer. It's a very nice idea to open the China's internet for the outside world. The same way like the Chinese company goes to the different part of the world and be into the competition for their equipment and for their services. Alibaba and lot of companies are there. Why the Chinese are not opening their country for the outside world? If I give the example of Google or the YouTube, the moment we are reaching over there in China, in any conference, we are not able to access any of those websites. It should be a competition. While you are getting the appreciation, at the same time, you also get the criticism from the outside world. So why you are not opening that sector wherein internet company from outer China should also be participating and competing with the Chinese company in China? Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. I think that's a very good question, and actually that's a question maybe in many people's mind. Why Google, why Facebook are not yet working in operating in China? So what I should say is that, have you ever been to China?
Yes.
How many times?
Many of times.
Many of times? But I think you missed some point that you don't know how many foreign companies that they are operating very well. They make good money in China, many, thousands of them. But Google, Facebook is not there. It's not. Why they are not there? There's a reason. For example, Google left China by itself. They left China. There's a China welcomes foreign companies to operate in China, to cooperate with the Chinese companies, to cooperate with Chinese government, to make big money there. And we have many successful examples, success stories. But Google left by themselves. And if they want to come back, we welcome. The condition is that they have to abide by the law, the Chinese law and the regulations. That is the basic line, the bottom line. And also, they will not do any harm to the Chinese national security and the consumers' interests. So this is our bottom line. But about that, they are welcomed to operate in China.
So the similar way, we are also expecting that the Chinese company who are working outside the China in another country should abide by the rules and regulation of that respective country.
That is something. That is something we always encourage the Chinese companies to do when they operating in a foreign land. Thank you. So I think.
May I add one comment? Because I think, everybody, each company who operates in a country has to respect the law. If I operate in Germany, I have to follow the German law. So if I operate in another country, and it's been quite interesting. Tim Cook was present. So Tim Cook is not the last manager. Apple, he said that 5 million people are working in China for Apple. 5 million. Cisco is present. IBM is present. Microsoft is present. So there are many. Google, the engine is not in China, but the Google Play is in China, and Google is opening the main research center on artificial intelligence in China. So there are many companies that are operating in China, and also for example, to operate in US is not easy for a Chinese company. Tell me how many Chinese successful companies there are in US. Give me names. Give me 3 names.
Yeah.
You will not be able to find.
That's the current situation. So time is up. I think there will be another session here in this room. So we have to wrap up. To conclude, I'd like to quote President Xi. His remarks in his congratulatory message to the Fourth World Internet Conference. He pointed out that at the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, we have drawn up the action plan and the development blueprint for for socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. China wants to build its strengths in cyberspace, advance the development of digital China and a smart society, deepen integration of the internet, big data, artificial intelligence with the economy, and develop a digital economy and a sharing economy to foster new areas of new drivers of growth. So the development of China digital economy will enter a fast lane. China wants to encourage countries across the world to broaden the express trend of the internet and digital economy. Thank you for all of you for your presence and for your attention. Thank you very much. The forum is over. Thank you. Cuba.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay.
Yeah, thank you. You are from. Thank you.
Hello.
那个。Thank you. Yep. Oh. Okay, I give you my card. So many. They don't know. China. 好。哦。明天好。
喂。
在吗？哦。哎，有，亲自来了。
We have another workshop about Internet Plus and Big Data on the right side of the conference room. Welcome.
不是，是那个，你们是怎么用的？要怎么用？
So I think that's chairs. That might be around there.
Hey, yes, of course. How are you? A bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous. It's a very intimidating room, isn't it? Because nobody's looking at you. So it's like a little bit hard to engage. I wonder what, there's obviously something behind it. I guess it's a discussion of things, but then why is this?
I think it's just what they had space for, because there are the big ones which are actually very conducive to the horseshoe kind of,
Yes,
shape.
What you would want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt a bit sorry for them because they were talking and people were just looking at.
That's right, yeah.
I guess you probably want to move these name badges.
Yeah, I certainly do not want to be Gong Shilong from China. You've got a gavel. Order.
But I have enough battery. I just got some breaks. It's like, I have enough battery, so just do that. I'm anywhere until later. I don't think I'm going to have enough battery for that. This is the important thing. Once this is over. Yes,
So Mona, you got in okay in the craziness of the security today, yeah? Oh, you came early. Yeah.
You had trouble getting in?